All right, welcome everybody to the first ever DBA Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Bryce Dettorre, and in today's video / audio, I'm going to be talking to you about how to develop your superpower. Now, I've been wanting to do this podcast / video programming for a while now. I just haven't had the, courage or motivation to start it. However, I figure today's topic is a perfect topic to talk about due to the fact it is the reason why I decided to finally pull the trigger. Now, this podcast is basically going to be a podcast that is geared all towards everything that is DBA mindset related. So obviously DBA is my brand, my motto, my slogan, whatever you want to call it, and it stands for don't be average. Don't be average for whatever role you have in life. Everybody has roles in life. I am a father, I am a husband, I am a brother, I am a teacher, I am a Spartan, I am a content creator, whatever it is. You yourself have certain roles, and everybody should be striving to be the best they can at those roles. By developing the DBA mindset / lifestyle, you're able to do that. So, I read a lot. I read a lot of books. If you saw behind the actual camera, I have over about 500 books, and books have changed my life. And there's a lot of information, great information out there by very successful people. And every time I read something, I feel like I need to share it. And that's one of the reasons why I started my YouTube channel. And that is one of the reasons why I decided to start this podcast, because I like talking. That's why I got into teaching, so that I could talk to the younger generations. Now, for those of you who do not know, I'm a special ed teacher. I teach special ed in high school, and actually the high school that I graduated from. So I'm around 9th through 12th graders. And I am seeing, I guess you could say, how do I want to say this? In a nice way. I am seeing a change in mindset / lifestyle with these up-and-coming teenagers. So this podcast is really geared, my overall goal with it is to have it be a place where high school students once a week can almost be taught something that I feel that they should have been taught in high school, but we as teachers don't have time all the time to teach them this. We're focusing on obviously teaching them math, English, how to write papers, social studies, all that stuff. I'm not saying that's not important. However, where I am seeing the gap get bigger is that these kids are losing their social skills. Now, I always tell my students, it doesn't matter how smart you are, what your diploma looks like, what kind of degree you get. At the end of the day, when you go to apply for a job, everybody in that interview has the same piece of paper or degree that you have. There's only one thing that separates you from the person next to you who's interviewing, and that is your mindset and your personality. Ain't nobody gonna hire you if they don't like you. And I tell my students that all the time. You gotta become likable in order to, I would say, make it in this thing called life. However, there is a lot of things that are interfering with kids' social skills. One of them, which I actually did my research paper on for my master's degree, is phones and social media in particular, and how devices are interfering and messing with not only students' academic performance, but also their mental health. I'm not going to dive into that today. That's a whole separate podcast, whole separate video, because I plan on doing a lot of these. My goal, I'll tell you guys, so that you guys can hold me accountable, my goal is to get you guys one video a week. One video, and maybe even I'll put it on Spotify. Maybe I'll start an actual podcast where you can listen to this while you're working out, on your way to school, whatever it may be, but just to help you develop the DBA mindset that we are always talking about on this channel. All right, so without further ado, let's dive right into today's topic, which you see from the actual thumbnail, and it's called Developing Your Superpower. Now, for those of you who do not follow my channel, you can tell, or I guess you would tell if you follow my channel, I am a huge believer of superpowers and superheroes. I love superheroes. I've Loved him ever since I was little. My first favorite superhero was Spider-Man. And in high school it was all about Captain America, because that's what my friends called me. I actually have Captain America's shield on my wall. If you see my classroom, it's decorated with Marvel. I've always been someone who has been into superheroes, just because it's an alter ego that these people have, something that sets them apart from everybody else, right? Like, they're not your average person, because obviously they're a superhero. So it was funny because this topic came about when I was actually in my classroom and students were surrounding my desk. It was like 5 minutes before class let out, and I have all the posters behind me. And one of the students said, "Hey, Dettorre, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?" And for the longest time, I would always say my superpower, if I could have any, it would be that I never need sleep. I absolutely hate sleep. You could ask my wife. I hate sleep. I feel like it is a waste of time. Now, obviously, you need it for your physiological health. Like, it's good for you, especially someone like me who works out 7 days a week. I need to sleep. I mean, I understand it's a necessity. But imagine if you didn't have to sleep. Excuse me. And I told my students this. If I didn't have to sleep, if I could get 6 to 8 hours when no one else is awake, no one else is bothering me, I could pick up another job. I could double my income. I could read all day. I could create content all day. I could play video games all day. Not all day, but for that 6 to 8 hours while everybody else is sleeping, it would be 100% my time that I could do whatever I want. And I figured I could accomplish a lot. So that's what I responded to. And it's funny because I started asking my students what would theirs be. And some of them were like, "Oh, I'd be invisible. Oh, I'd be able to fly, strength." And I realized that everybody's superpower that they say they want is based off of something that they wish they could improve in their life. For instance, like one of my students, I could tell he's kind of like an introvert and he always kind of wants to be left alone. His superpower, obviously, he said he wishes he was invisible. I had another student who she said she wished she could fly. And she's told me stuff before that she wishes, she had different parents or different home life, and it's not the easiest life to go home to. However, her superpower would be to fly away, to basically escape. And it made me think that every superpower or every superhero out there, their superpower defines who they are. And then as with people like us who wish we had a superpower, ours is based off of what we wish we could change in our life. So I'm driving home that day, and I am a firm believer everything happens for a reason. So I'm driving home that day and I'm watching this clip. I know I shouldn't be watching stuff while I'm driving, but I was at a light, so calm down. And Tony Robbins, big fan of Tony Robbins. I've read pretty much all his books, and he's a phenomenal speaker, someone that I look up to. So he came up on my feed and he was talking about, imagine if every time you said I'm going to try this again. Imagine if every time that you said you were going to do something, you did it. And he did a way better job of explaining this, but he's talking about there's no negotiation. And I remember visually watching this, and he was like, as soon as you say you're going to do something, you do it. You don't think about it. There's no negotiation. You don't listen to that little voice. You just say, I'm going to do it, and it's done. Like, there's no trying to figure out how. You just start. And when I heard that, I was like, man, that's why Tony Robbins is the GOAT. So I was like, man, that'd be crazy if that was your superpower. Like, imagine if every time you said you were going to do something, there was no negotiation. There was no, thinking about it. There was no contemplating if you were able to do it. You just did it. Like, you said you were going to wake up early. You did it. You said you were going to work out. You did it. You said you were going to go back to school. You did it. You said you were going to talk to that person, that female, that male, whatever it may be, and you did it. I started realizing if I had that superpower, my whole life would change. And it made me think what if I could develop that superpower? Because for those of you who don't know, I'm obviously religious, and you don't have, I'm not pushing it on you. I'm just saying this is who I am, right? Well, if God created us in his image, therefore we have a part of God in us, right? And God kind of created this whole thing called earth. So if he created earth, that means he's creative. And then if he put a part of us, or part of him in us, therefore we're creative. That's my thinking, right? So I was like, what if I could create something in my life? What if I could create this superpower? And then I started thinking, well, how much would my life change if every time I said I was going to do something, I did it? So that got my wheels turning. And that's my challenge to you is I would tell you, what if you can create an alter ego, right? And an alter ego is basically someone or something that you can turn into and change and act a certain way. Like for instance, Batman, when he puts on that mask, he's an alter ego and he changes his voice into, I'm the Batman, and everything changes. Captain America gets his shield, Thor gets his hammer, Spider-Man puts on his mask. All these people, they have alter egos that, for instance, like someone like Spider-Man, in real life, he's Peter Parker, kind of keeps to himself, kind of people would say he's a book smart guy, not the most popular, but then when he becomes Spider-Man, he's someone completely different. So I started thinking about all these people and superheroes and celebrities and people I watch on TV that when I watch them, and ask yourself this, usually your favorite superhero or your favorite character from a show, like, I don't know if you guys watch that show, Yellowstone, okay, but I got a man crush on that man Rip because his character persona is just a BA, okay? And when I watch him, I'm like, dude, I make a joke to Cassie all the time. I always look at her and I'm like, man, you know what? He reminds me of myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm nothing like Rip. That dude is tough, right? Not saying I'm not tough. Don't get that wrong. I'm tough. But he is at a whole different level of tough. Someone that says when, like, he just doesn't care, right? He's going to do right from wrong. And he's always going to go basically towards what's right in his mind and not really think of the consequences. And that's something I admire. And then even when I watch, I don't know if you guys ever seen that show, Chicago PD, but Voight, that dude's he's a tough man, right? And that's something that I wish a part of me had, right? If I had an alter ego. Even with my wife, Cassie, she has certain characteristics that I wish I had. So all these people, I'm like, what if I could just create an alter ego? Someone that I turned into, that when I said I was going to do something, I followed through on it. So the point of this, why I'm getting at this, is because 13 weeks ago now, I decided I needed to do a Spartan race, Spartan Beast. So 6 miles, 25 obstacles. I've done it before, but this one was going to be up in Big Bear, California, 9,000 elevation, and in the 6 miles I was going to gain 31 elevation. So it was not going to be easy. So I started training, and it was crazy because I started training with this mindset that I'm going to develop my superpower, that when I say I'm going to do something, I follow through and I do it. So I said I was going to wake up early, I was going to work out 7 days a week, I was going to do cardio 5 days a week, well 7 days a week, but 5 of those days I'd be running. I was going to follow a nutrition plan, I wasn't going to cheat, I wasn't going to do nothing. I was going to be strict for these 13 weeks and just see what I could accomplish. In those 13 weeks, I had a lot of people reach out to me on social media saying, how do I wake up every single morning at 3 o'clock in the morning? They would say, I'm motivated. They would say, how do you have that discipline? Whatever it may be. And I would literally just respond, it's my superpower. And some of them responded with basically like, you're a weirdo, or just LOL, and they didn't really take it serious, but I was taking it serious. Like, this was something I was going to do. So I created this other alter ego. I know how weird that sounds, and it's probably not what you guys were looking for when you are thinking of, how do you wake up early? Like, what advice can you give me? I'm going to tell you right now, develop your superpower. Develop an alter ego. Develop something or develop someone that has all the qualities you wish you had, and then just act that way. Like, that was my mindset. Is I said I was going to do it. That's my superpower. So I got to follow through. I know it's, like I said, it's not probably what you're looking for, but again, just imagine if you can develop a superpower that's what it was. And it may not be that when you say you're going to do something, you do it, but what if your superpower was you ate healthy all the time? Or what if your superpower was you read a book every single week, or whatever it may be, something that could improve your life. I knew this was going to improve my life because, again, I had a goal of I wanted to run this race. So for 12 weeks, I had a lot of people reach out because I would post every single morning. I'd say up before the enemy, clocked in, and then I'd post the time. It was usually 3:15, 3 o'clock. Sometimes it was like 2:45 because I had to wake up a little bit earlier. And I was loving it. I was loving the results, and it made me develop this identity, which comes from doing something consistently of, this is what I do, this is who I am, and this is my superpower, right? And I even sometimes was like, Bryce wouldn't be able to do it, but I haven't thought of a name. Probably should think of a name. If I had a name for this superpower, that'd be legit. So I might have to think about that. But the point that I'm trying to get at, I know I'm kind of all over the place. And the reason why I'm all over the place, because this is raw. This is unfiltered. This is not edited. I will not edit these videos. Because again, I'm trying to show you guys that when you say you're going to do something, follow through with it. Now the problem, and I have this sometimes, is you suffer from what's called, what is it called? Let me think of what it's called. Paralysis by analysis. Which means, and I've said this in my videos before, when you say you're going to do something, this is what happens. This is why I had to develop a superpower, because I would become or do what the average person would do. And as soon as you say you're going to do something, I challenge you, next time you say you're going to do something, I guarantee 90% of the time, as soon as you say, hey, I'm going to wake up early tomorrow, a stupid little voice comes inside your head and responds, right? It's always talking to you. And I'll go into a whole different video of how to deal with that voice, but it usually tells you, because it's trying to get to their comfort zone, right? Because if you have a goal, that means you got to do something you've never done before. Your mind, their goal is to bring you back to homeostasis, your comfort zone. So as soon as you say, you know, I'm going to wake up at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to get a workout in. This voice comes in and says, whoa, you got to work tomorrow. You're going to be tired. That's probably not the best bet. Maybe you should just try to sleep in, start over summer. It's going to give you all these logical reasons, and the average person will listen to it. So I decided I'm just not going to listen to it. I'm going to do what Tony Robbins said. And as soon as I say I'm going to do something, I do it. As soon as that voice comes inside my head, I become aware of it, and I realize it's stupid. It's the average voice. It's just trying to bring me back to my comfort zone. So that's why this video and this editing, there's going to be no editing. This video is going to be raw, and the reason why is because I didn't want to listen to that voice of, oh, you got to have the perfect lighting. Oh, you got to have the perfect lens. Oh, you got to have everything set up before you pull the trigger. Just pull the trigger. Build the momentum. When I started waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and developing my superpower, I didn't think it through, right? And I made a lot of adjustments. I realized, okay, what time do I have to get to bed? Like when people ask me, how do you go to bed, or what time do you go to bed, or they're looking for answers. The easiest way to get answers is to just do it, right? Like if these people are asking me, how do you go to, or what time you go to bed, or how do you wake up every day? They're asking me because they want an answer. Just do it, right? A lot of people will ask for help before they even try. I see with my students all the time. They'll raise their hand, I'll walk up to them, I'm like, hey, what's up? What do you need? And they'll be like, I don't understand the question, or I don't understand what we're supposed to be doing. And I'll ask them, did you read it? And they're like, no. Okay, well, if you read it, it gives you directions. Oh, okay. 90% of the time when they read it, they understand it. But they don't even read it because they want someone else's help. So when these people are asking me, hey, how are you able to wake up early, or what time do you go to bed, they're looking for my answer. Well, everybody's different. And I guarantee especially when it comes to your health, everybody's different. I guarantee that if you were to just pull the trigger and say, hey, I'm going to wake up at 5 tomorrow, and do it, set an alarm, and then when that voice in the morning tells you to go back to bed, don't listen to it, just get out of bed, and then later, if you're like tired at 2 o'clock, you're going to start trying to come up with answers of, okay, well, how do I eliminate this 2 o'clock crash? Because that's another question everybody asks me. How do you stay awake up throughout the whole day? Don't you get tired in the afternoon? Like, they're asking all these questions. If they just pull the trigger, they'll have all the answers. They won't need to ask me the questions. They'll realize that, oh yeah, 2 o'clock, it's usually a crash. You take a 15-minute nap, you're good to go, and then you go to bed at 8:30, and you have all the answers. But that's what I got from actually pulling the trigger and not overthinking things. So that is my superpower. That's what I wanted to develop. I wanted to develop someone, or this alter ego, again, and am I perfect? Obviously not. I am far from perfect, and I'm not saying, and if you look at superpowers or superheroes, they mess up, they lose sometimes, but they're known for what they do. And it was cool because actually I want to say last week, Cassie was talking to my mom. They were talking about how I lost a lot of weight. I lost basically 27 pounds since I've started doing this transformation. I'm sitting at 190. I'm a lean, mean fighting machine. And before I was sitting at about 217, 214, somewhere around there. And that's a lot of fluff. Someone could lose. So when I lost that, obviously I started looking a little bit different. My mom said that to my wife, and she actually told her that she was like, it's crazy that when Bryce says he's going to do something, he does it. Every time he says he's going to do something, he follows through and he does it. And even with this Spartan race, the last 2 Spartan races I've had over probably 7 people for each race sign up, right? I had a couple people that signed up prior to me signing up, and they told me, hey, you got to sign up because we're going to do this together. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So I signed up. But then when it came race day, I was very lonely at the starting line because those 6 other people or 7 other people, whatever it may be, they bailed. Whether it was the morning of, whether it was a couple weeks prior, whatever it was. I had people that were supposed to do Murph with me today, and they bailed. And that's just something that it's like, I don't want to be known for that. So when it comes to like, what do you want to be known for? Mine was, I want to be known for when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't listen. I don't think. I don't pay attention to that voice that's telling me you can't do it. I just pull the trigger and figure it out as I go ahead. And that is my superpower. Now my challenge to you, which at the end of every video, I'm going to give you guys a challenge that I challenge you guys to do something yourself. Start thinking. Probably have to do backwards thinking. Think about your goal. Think about what you want to do, right? Think of all the traits, all the values, all the characteristics that you got to develop to hit that goal, because chances are, if you have a goal, it's not who you are now. So you're going to have to become someone different or develop certain qualities in order to achieve that goal. Pick one of those and then say that that is your superpower. So if it's like, I wish I was someone that was super disciplined, or I wish it was someone that read more, I wish I was someone that was a little bit better at talking to people. What if that was your superpower, right? What if you were just someone that was like, you were known for being someone who could communicate, someone who socializes, someone who always made someone feel better? That could be your superpower. I don't know. You're going to have to think about it. Whatever your goal is. Like if your goal was, oh, I want to, get married and have an amazing family. Okay, well, what are qualities you need to develop to find that person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and then develop that family? It might be that you have to be caring, loving, good at socializing, good at communicating. Well, that could be your superpower. And then you just turn on an alter ego. And then you look for certain situations that you can put your superpower to the test. If you're out and about and you see someone that's attractive and you want to go talk to them, that's your superpower. Put on your mask, go do what you need to do. I know it sounds weird. Some of you guys might be like, this guy's an absolute psycho. But I'm proof that I've done it for 12 weeks and my life has completely changed. So I would challenge you, if you're calling BS on me, I hope you are, try to prove me wrong. Create your own superpower. Go out, do it for 12 weeks. You might have to do it for more. You might have to do it for less. I'm just saying, speaking from experience, mine was 12 weeks that's where I really saw the change. Once that 12 weeks is up, then do a recap and see if your life has changed and if you actually have a superpower. So that is a wrap for the first ever episode, Episode 1 of the DBA Mindset Podcast. Again, I'm going to figure this out as I go along. Like I said, I have a lot of topics that I'm realizing I can't do all of them and can't cover all of them in my weekly YouTube videos. So my plan is to keep doing the weekly vlogs and if you're not following the channel, the other video, or if you're not subscribed to the channel, the other videos that you can expect from this channel are pretty much fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle related. So that will be my other video, and then once a week I will drop this video where it's going to be basically developed towards developing that DBA mindset. And like I said, it's usually going to be a topic that I get from a book, or it's going to be a topic that I feel my students need to hear, and then also at the same time something that came up while I was teaching. So that is the goal for the podcast. If you guys like this type of stuff, make sure you guys like it, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. If there's something that you want to see me put out content-wise, comment below and say, hey, Bryce, do this. I'm looking for a video on this. Again, it's going to be all my books I read. You can't see them, but they're right behind you. I got a lot of books. And a lot of stuff that I really just want to share. And it comes back to when I used to speak at high schools. I used to love doing motivational speaking. I felt like I was pretty good at it. So this is my way of reaching not only my students, but hopefully more high school students around the world. And it's not just for high school students. Obviously, it's going to be geared towards people like me because everything I just told you to do, I did myself, and I'm 33 years old and still learning. So that is a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I will see you guys in the next one, and you guys already know the motto. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, don't be average. Have a great day.